Get started on the follow-up to the election videos that I did. And if you don't listen right till the end, I want to point out that many psychics, card readers, crystal ball readers from around the world, Australia, United States, United Kingdom, people who had no vested interest in Canada, not to mention how many Canadian readers, without exception, they all read that the Conservatives would win with a minority government. So we have to ask ourselves, what the hell happened? What switched the energy? So anyways, without further ado, let's get on with the follow-up to the election. I just wanted to put that in the front because in case a lot of you don't listen to the end. All right, take good care. Starting now. Hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Well, I'm doing a follow-up to my election call. And in my defense, the first three predictions I did, the Liberals were ahead. And I kept saying Liberals by a minority, Liberals by a minority, Liberals by a minority. And then on the fourth one, it flipped and it said Conservatives by a minority. And this was after the debate. And you have to remember when when I do that, it's like, if the election is held today, what's the energy in the air? And then the last one that I did, and some people pointed this out, not only did I put them in a different order. And also, here's a really good lesson of asking the cards the same question over and over. I should have asked a different deck of cards because if you keep asking the same question, so I asked it the three times it came up, said liberal minority, liberal minority. The fourth time it was almost like, okay, what do you want me to say? I'll tell you what you want me to say. And same thing with the last one. And I did it by alphabetical. So Carney comes before Polyev. So that's why I did Liberals on top and Polyev on the bottom. Then I switched it to the party. And it was interesting because I did say in case one of them loses their seat. So I must have had a feeling one of them was going to lose their seat. And of course, we all know now, Polyev lost his seat. And I flipped them around. Now, if you go back and look and reread that as if the Liberals were on top and the Conservatives were on the bottom, the same way I was reading time after time, it actually shows up exactly what happened in the election. And I did the same thing on a Super Bowl game. I flipped them in what was going on. I completely reversed exactly what happened on each team. And so if you go back and it started with the tower for the Liberals. Well, and it ended up with 9 of wands in reverse, meaning embattled and they don't win. I think that explains that this was an election for Polyev or the Conservatives to lose. So that was their tower moment. Now, one could also argue the Liberals only have a minority government, which I predicted 3 times. And so that could be a tower moment as well. They didn't do as well. They do not have a majority. They could go down quite quickly. All they have to do is table their budget. If it looks like they're going to have to be in bed with the Bloc. But I think there will be enough NDP that they can collaborate, perhaps, and keep the Liberals in power. But if we'll see. Usually, it's a budget that will bring down a minority government. So let's find out what's going on. So, in my defense, and like I've said before, I do not get 100%. Absolutely not. I get lots of stuff wrong, and that's because I'm also a human being. I know you guys think I'm this, cool wizard in Canada. I'm kidding. I know you don't. But if I got all my readings 100% of the time, do you really think I'd be on YouTube reading cards, or do you think I'd be in Vegas and be a millionaire? I actually know it's a Canadian tarot card reader. I'm not kidding you. She only does stocks and she charges $10,000 a month. You can ask as many stocks as you want, and she only has 5 clients, so she makes $50,000 US a month reading for these 5 clients. They can ask as many stocks as they want, and she has a waiting list, believe it or not. But she's very well known and has done very well for herself in just reading financial tarot. And she's sought out by some of the biggest players on base. We have Bay Street here in Canada. I don't know if she even has some New York Wall Street people. Anyways, she only takes on 5 clients at a time, 10,000 US a month, and has a waiting list. So, that being said, if I was that good, I certainly wouldn't be on YouTube taking abuse from the trolls, that's for sure. Thank you for some of you who've been very kind and have kind comments, and realize that I got some of it right. I actually did. And reviewing the video, I think if I would have put liberals on top, conservatives on the bottom, as I did the previous 4 readings, and then you look at it that way, it would be for sure, I'd be completely right. I would have been completely right. So anyways, troll away, I block, I delete. I'm not putting up with that, especially if you're rude to my other viewers. If you're rude to my other viewers, I'm sorry, I'm not putting, they don't deserve that. They're just putting a comment under YouTube. If you have a lot of vitriol and anger issues and rudeness and nothing else to do with your life, please go bug somebody else, because I'm not putting up with it. All right? So anyways, on that happy note, let's find out how long is this government, so this liberal minority government, going to last. Interestingly, earlier this year, I said there'd be 2 elections in Canada. I said there would be one before Canada Day, and I said there'd be one after Canada Day. So let's find out. I also, last Canada Day, I also said we'd have a new Prime Minister before the next Canada Day. And at that point, Liberals weren't going anywhere, and our next election wasn't until October 2025. So I did get that right. I also predicted Trudeau and Sophie and Justin would separate. I predicted a lot of right things for Canada. I regret switching the parties around. I should have kept it the same for the card's sake. All right. How long is this new government going to last? How long is this new government going to last? Will we have another election before the end of the year? Will we have another election before the end of the year? Shall we begin? And after this, I'm going to ask about Alberta separation, so stick around for that. Wow. 9 of Pentacles upright. Hanged Man upright. 8 of Cups upright. 5 of Wands upright. Wow. 10 of Swords. And the 3 of Swords in reverse. And the 3 of Wands in reverse. So I asked, will we have another election before the end of the year? Ace of Wands in reverse. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 upright. I think that, you know what, I'm going to say yes. Because this shows me that this is the minority government. right? They're the hanged man here. When you have a minority government in Canada, you really can't move anywhere back and forth. And this shows me they will be kind of struggling. I'm going to say they need at least 8 to 9 people to pass some of their things. And it looks like some of the people are going to turn their back on the Liberals and bring down ruin and betrayal. This tells me no future. 3 of Wands in reverse is you have no future. You have nothing to look forward to. Your plans don't work out. Also, we have the betrayal and the ruin here. So I'm going to go on record and say we are going to have another election before the end of 2025. This is what my cards are telling me. Even with this Ace of Wands in reverse, sometimes you'd read that as a no, but I'm going to read it as this is a no-go. This government is a no-go. Here they're going to bask in the winning for a while, and they're going to find out very quickly they're stuck with anything they want to do. And it's going to be kind of a struggle to keep people on their side. And some of the people that they think that they could count on are going to turn their backs on them. It could be up to 8. So perhaps 8 block turn their backs, or that even could be all the NDP, or 7. There's 7 NDP. But I'm showing that. So between 5 and 8, I think, are going to turn their back, and it's going to be it's going to ruin them, meaning that they have to dissolve Parliament. This is definitely, and they're going to feel betrayed. This party has no future. No future. So I'm going to call it, we're going to see another election before the end of 2025. All right. Now, one of the other questions people have, was this election rigged? Now, I did ask the cards, is Carney installed? Is this prime minister going to be installed? Do they already know the outcome to this election? Just different things Trump was saying. Yeah, we're going to work together after the election and stuff. And we're like, hold it, the election hasn't been held. What makes you think that he's going to win? And so let's just quickly ask. I don't think that it's very difficult to rig a Canadian election. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's very difficult. I mean, everybody needs ID. Your name is crossed off a list after you have voted. Now, where it can be rigged is you can have somebody vouch for you. And so if you're new to Canada and you're being sponsored by somebody here and you don't have your ID quite yet, you can have somebody vouch for you. And you think of some of the biggest, newest Canadians, or people who are here want to be Canadians, and why wouldn't they vouch for this person and get their vote in there, even though they aren't real Canadians? But you need thousands of those to really make a big, huge difference. But what I want to find out is, was Carney installed? Was it predetermined? And one way they can do that, and it was caught, and we've never known which MPs got in, is the Chinese government flooding an area so that their representative got in. So that's one way of foreign interference. So even with some of the things that Trump said, oh yeah, look at, there's your foreign interference right there. Attack by words. And I just said what Trump said. Was there foreign interference in this election, in that it was predetermined who was going to win? Shall we begin? Oh, double tap. Oh, the devil. There's your WEF. There's your WEF. Disappointing. King of Swords is your politician. That's Trump. That's Trump. Queen of Wands. That's Carney. No, I don't know. He's not a queen. Well, could be. I don't know. No judgment. Page of, look at this. Wow, are we going to have all 7 upright? And we do. Can you see that? So this was predetermined. This was absolutely predetermined. Absolutely. This was the offer. This is they're trying to sell Carney, and they just about didn't do it here with this embattled. And look at that. Here's the embattled card upright, meaning you won the battle. You're worse for wear, but you're still standing. And I think they're wondering how close it actually was. But yeah, not being able to let go of the past. Yeah, I think here with this King of Swords, I think Trump did interfere by his words. I'm not saying that he did anything illegal or he flooded any area with, I'm not saying that at all. But some of the things he said, especially the female boomers, they have Trump derangement syndrome so bad that they thought the only way we're going to save Canada from becoming the 51st state is to vote Carney in, because somehow the media that the Liberal Party owns in Canada, I don't even say allegedly, that's the truth, convince these women that if they don't vote for Carney, Pierre Poilievre was a friend of Trump's and we were going to become the 51st state. So in some respects, thanks for nothing, Trump. Thanks for nothing. Hope and healing. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if we'll ever get out of this WF mess. All right. So there. And you know what? The cards did tell me he was going to be installed. The cards did tell me, I believe it was week 2 or 3, that I said, is this a predetermined election? And the cards were adamant, yes. So this was predetermined. Will the West separate now? Will the West separate? I'm not going to specifically mention Alberta because maybe Saskatchewan will. But let's see. Will the West separate now? Will the West separate now? Upright, positive, reversals, negative. Will the West separate? Will the West separate? And we're allowed to. Well, you can't just separate. Yeah, we can. We can leave the Commonwealth. We can leave Canada. We have that in our rights. That's in our right to leave without any kind of pressure, or we can leave on our own accord. We're free to leave on our own accord without interference. So we would become the Republic of Alberta, or the Republic of Buffalo, they're suggesting, or some such thing. Shall we begin? The Fool, fresh new beginnings. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Temperance in reverse. 2 of Cups upright. 10 of Swords upright. Knight of Cups upright. The Chariot. Well, it's kind of a resounding yes. And this looks like 2 provinces, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Underlying the Hanged Man, that's being released. The Hangman in reverse, sorry, that's being released. It might not be with Danielle Smith here, with the female here in reverse with the money, and also the Temperance card here in reverse. Albertans might pick somebody new to lead us out of this. If Danielle Smith doesn't offer, let's walk away. The Fool is walking out of this. The Fool is walking out. The Fool has turned its back on Canada and is starting fresh. If she doesn't move on this, it'll be the end of her career as well. Here we have 2 of Cups. I think it'll be Alberta, Saskatchewan. Here's the 10 of Swords. It would be ruin for Canada. Here's the 10 provinces. It would ruin Canada. Knight of Cups, they might offer something to stay. There might be, or we could even be offered from the United States to join the United States, because the Chariot is a Cancerian card, and we all know July 4th is in Cancer time. This actually could be the United States, the general, the military might, the military. They could be our knight in shining armor here and offer us, or we offer to join the United States. I think that something like that might happen. But I think if anything, it will be Saskatchewan and Alberta. They come together, and that's perhaps why Danielle Smith won't rule it. Perhaps a new person is elected to represent both provinces, and it's just because the female here is in reverse, and same thing with the temperance. It's like, really, when you look at this is the only two female cards and they're in reverse. So that's why I'm calling that. But it looks like the Hanged Man here in reverse, we have the opportunity to leave. So yes, watch for that. Watch for that. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about this election. Also, I wanted to point out that many card readers, psychics, crystal balls from around the world, Australia, United States, UK, etc., other Canadians had called a minority conservative government win. So, the energies were there for the win. So something happened. Something happened, right? Something was switched last minute. Let's put it that way. Because there's just no way that many people would be calling for it, and it didn't. We were all reading the same energy. So did a timeline shift? Were we unable to? Was it heavily veiled what their real plans were? Interesting. What's going on? All right. Well, YouTube's going to show you video you possibly haven't seen. I'm just going to quickly do the Australia election, which happens on May 3rd, and let's move on from elections after that. Okay. Thanks for watching. Take good care. Bye for now.